Okay, so in today's video I am going to be showing you how to create this Wednesday Addams thing kind of inspired makeup. So yeah, if you want to see how I did this, then keep on watching. Okay, so first of all I wanted to create the sort of like thing makeup on my hand, obviously. So first of all, I kind of wanted to isolate like the wrist, because obviously when you see him, he is a hand, but there is obviously a little bit of like the wrist in there as well. So that was first of all what I kind of wanted to create. So to begin with, I just used some pieces of liquid latex and or just like a little bit on my skin, which I put on with a sponge, and then I just had the inside of like a toilet roll which I had cut, and I wanted to kind of use that to create that structure, but then after a little while I kind of realized that it wasn't actually going to dry and stick to my skin, so I gave up on that idea, and also it wasn't actually going to look right, because obviously I was then going to have to completely colour it, and in order to do that I would have literally had to cover the whole thing in this like liquid latex tissue, which obviously is then going to give a really odd texture, which is not like my skin at all. So obviously if I was going to do that, then I would have had to have completely covered the rest of my hand in this liquid latex paper as well to make it the same. If not, it was just going to look really odd. So obviously, as you can see here, I tried a few layers. I mean, if you've ever worked with liquid latex before, you know it doesn't dry quickly. So really what I should have done was kind of like have my hair dryer out and dry the layers in between, and then this maybe would have actually stuck to my skin and probably would have worked, but yeah, I just kind of decided in the end that this was not the route that I kind of wanted to go with. So yes, I did end up giving up on that, and then again I was still kind of insistent that for whatever reason that I wanted this sort of like barrier in place. So obviously like isolate the hand and the wrist away from the rest of the arm, because obviously doing it this way, I mean, to begin with, I don't have any of the footage from it, but to begin with I did actually use the liquid latex to completely cover my hand in order to make a liquid latex hand, but I ended up accidentally ripping it because basically I was too impatient and I didn't do enough layers on it. So when I was peeling it off, I actually just put a massive rip in it, so I ended up not using that, but obviously if I could have used that, then obviously we could have clipped that into my hair and had that as like a complete separate piece, but obviously with it obviously being a part of my hand, this is not necessarily going to be like a costume piece. It's going to kind of have to be something that you take pictures with, and then that's kind of that, unless obviously you just want like the makeup on your hand and obviously it's just to look a certain way, and then obviously yeah, you could do it that way, but yeah, I was kind of insistent on making this barrier to make the photos look a little bit cooler, and to make it easier to get the look of the photos. So yes, I then started using, as you can see, liquid latex with this like tissue barrier, but again it didn't really dry very well, again completely my own fault because I was really impatient, but at this point I kind of actually put my hand on my head and tried to actually figure out what it was going to look like, and at this point I was pretty sure that it was okay and it was gonna look good, but as you just saw, I kind of tried to squeeze out a little bit more liquid latex, and because my latex bottle was quite old, there wasn't actually much left in there. So basically what is in my palette now is essentially all of the liquid latex that I had left. So with that I was trying to kind of make a barrier to go onto my skin to hold it in place, but yeah, because it was so like thick and saturated, it was taking absolutely ages to dry, and again it probably would have dried had I dried it with a hairdryer. But yeah, I kind of left it on my skin at this point whilst I moved on to creating the cuts in my hand. So I just used Crayolan Cinewax, I believe it's called. So yeah, it is just basically scar wax. So you just take out a small portion and then just mold it onto your skin. The smaller amounts you use, the better, because it will make it look more realistic, basically. So yeah, you can see here I just kind of mold it down to my hand, and then you can see there is a portion of it that sticks up, and that is the bit that you cut open to colour and turn into a cut or a scar or whatever you want to kind of use. So yeah, you can see there it's molded completely to my hand other than that section that we just sliced. So yeah, I then use the Crayolan Aqua Colours. So these are water-based face paints, so obviously they need water to be activated. So yes, I, as you just saw, sprayed them with a little bit of setting spray, and then I went in with the red and then added some depth in with the black colour, which obviously kind of try my best to keep it inside of the cut, but it doesn't actually necessarily matter if it does come out a little bit. And I actually use some of the black to sort of make my hand appear a little bit more bruised and a little bit more dirty. As you can see, just kind of wiped it over to kind of, yeah, I guess make it look a little bit more, well, to make it look less clean. And then I moved on to the next cut that we were going to do. So I did a longer one across the side of my hand, as you can see. This wax is incredibly sticky, which does sometimes make it a little bit difficult to work with, but once you put it onto the skin, it's nowhere near as difficult. So yeah, I had a little bit of excess on here, so you can see I kind of made a smaller one across the side of my hand as well, and then yeah, just worked it in. And the trouble with this, obviously, because your hand moves so much, it does sometimes move a little bit, in which case the best thing to kind of do is actually to use some spirit gum underneath, which will act as a glue for the wax. But because I knew I wasn't going to have this on for very long, I didn't actually put the spirit gum on, because yeah, I knew it didn't have to be on for too long. But obviously if you want it to be on for longer, then yes, I would definitely recommend putting a layer of spirit gum underneath the wax. But yeah, you can see there, obviously with the wax you can't really see where it has been on my hand. You can just obviously see the cuts and then where I've put the face paint, and obviously you don't necessarily need to use the wax, but the wax does make the cuts themselves look a little bit more realistic once you actually put the fake blood in. And then yeah, here was basically the point at which I decided I did not want this section of liquid latex and tissue on my hand anymore. So yeah, I basically just rolled it up and rolled it off, and yeah, decided that I definitely didn't want that on there. So yeah, you can see I'm just pulling it off, which was actually quite painful. If you've ever worked with liquid latex before, you know exactly how it feels to try and get it off. So yeah, I just peeled that off, and then I left my hand how it was for now whilst I moved on to do my face makeup, because yeah, I didn't want to put like the fake blood or anything in there and then get it everywhere essentially. So yeah, I cleaned my hand off here, and you can see on that first cut that I did actually redo the wax on that one, because it did start to come away from my hand a little bit where my hand had been moving, and really I probably should have done my face painting and face look before I did my hand, but yeah, this is just the way around that I ended up doing it. But yeah, if I was going to do it again, then I would definitely do my face before my hand, especially my hair, because I did this and then went and braided my hair. So yeah, I would definitely braid my hair beforehand, and I would have also put those long bits of hair into the braid. I didn't actually realize how big they were until like watching this video back, but yeah, anyway, you live and you learn. So yeah, I just had like a base of foundation anyway, so I had foundation and then just a little bit of like contour, so I just added some black shadow around my eyes and just took it right down onto my lower lash line as well. And then I just took a red lipstick, and instead of kind of like putting it all the way on, I dabbed it on and then used some black face paint on my fingers to go in the corners to make it a little bit darker, which obviously you can see me doing now. And then I just wiped off any of the excess basically. I kept leaving things on my desk, so yeah, obviously you can see I keep having to get up to grab other things. So yeah, I then grabbed a liner brush and the red face paint, and yeah, I basically just decided where I wanted the scratches, or yeah, they are scratches, like the cuts to be, and just went down with the red face paint. And then the next thing I did, as you can see, was go in with the fake blood. It is Crayolan fake blood. So yeah, I went in with that on my hands and then just dabbed it over where I had put that line. So yeah, obviously that creates sort of the like thing, what's it called? The illusion of like a fresh cut. And then I went in and I put some on a liner brush and then dripped it down my face. So yeah, obviously when I pat it on with my finger, it creates the illusion of sort of dried blood around the cut. But then when you put it on with a liner brush and just let it drip down, it obviously creates the illusion of the wound being fresh. So then I did the exact same thing in the cuts on my hand. I added in some fake blood and then patted around my fingers as well to add a little bit in there. And then I also just patted the blood over the cuts as well, to sort of obviously make it not look completely perfect, and just to sort of spread it out a little bit. And then for the face, I then went in with the black liner, which of course you can't currently see because I'm in the way, but I went in with the black liner and created the sort of indication of some stitches. So I did sort of like some black crosses over. Obviously it doesn't look like realistic black like realistic stitches, but yeah, I went over with some black liner to add in a little bit more detail. And then yeah, that I did the same on my hand. And then yeah, that was essentially everything that I did. And then we just had to basically manage to pose in a way that you can't see my arm. Okay, so that is the finished look and how I did it all. So yeah, please let me know what you think down below. There'll probably also be some proper pictures on my Instagram, so if you want to head over there and have a look, I will link it down below. But yeah, other than that, make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and come back next time for another video. Bye.